Okay, so let's get straight into this one. My my honest views, right, on Bitcoin and crypto, right, being someone that's been 5+ years involved in this market now. What I would say for those that are trying to get in, right, if you're a newbie, what I definitely want to let you know is that if you're coming in right now thinking to yourself, this is something brand new, future of finance that is gonna have people who is usually the external people that are not in this market basically transfer from where they are, which is the traditional markets, into this market. You're not wrong, but you may be too early in thinking that, especially when it comes for that to correlate in price action. That's mainly what you care about, is how much these cryptos go up and how much basically you can make from the increases in price. And you're not wrong. Now, I guess the thing about it is that for someone that's been 5+ years in it, I can honestly say that I can see how people that were in it before me, maybe a few years before me, I can see how they got jaded, and now it just is what it is. And you're going to get to this point where you're going to be like, it is what it is. I've seen most of it. I've seen the rises, I've seen falls, I've seen, like the big stuff that you guys have maybe heard about that you probably wasn't part of, stuff like the SEC suing Ripple, which tanked the price of XRP. People that were getting airdrops from XRP, whether that be the Flare airdrop or I think the one that even preceded that, which was the Songbird, because the Flare one got delayed. So airdrops is something for those that are not familiar with airdrops, is basically a specific, usually new protocol that comes into the space, into the market. They may, due to association maybe with a current project, basically they kind of partner, and then they will essentially give you free money. Right? So I don't know how else to label that. Basically, they give you free money. So airdrops, and that's what happened in that specifically that scenario with XRP and whatever. Then you got obviously like the Terra Luna crash. Then you got the I don't know, FTX. Then you got the banking crisis of there's just so many things that happen. And I think 5+ years in, you start realizing to yourself that it's all essentially a cycle, right? You get drawn into I don't know, for want of a better word, cults. I think everybody knows what I'm talking about here. Anyone that's been part of the journey for long enough, you start realizing to yourself that there's just many people that believe solely in one coin, which is silly, because that's not how the world works in general. Why would you think one coin is the one that's going to rule them all? That's just not how it works. It's pretty much whatever's catching attention and heat at the time, whatever narrative that's being pushed out there, but the coin that is attached to that is essentially going to perform, right? So it's literally just like a never-ending cycle. Again, if you're coming in right now, you're thinking to yourself, oh, this coin is going to do this, or this coin is going to do that. You see people, there's a lot of infighting. It's just, when you just watch so many YouTubers, right, crypto YouTubers, you realize to yourself, this stuff is, it's almost just a situation of, before I got into crypto, I was in the traditional markets, where I was in stocks and shares, and it's the exact same thing. You just put your money in and just sit and wait, sit and wait. And I think now, for people that have been in it long as I have, the general consensus is there's no point in trying to make a prediction or trying to say that this is what it's going to be, or what is going to happen. Trying to trade as well. Traders that do trade, I mean, the amount of traders that actually are profitable is very, very low. It's very, very low. So you start realizing to yourself that none of it matters. All that matters is you pick projects that you have conviction in and you stick to them, and you're probably going to do well. Like when I look at it when I look at the comment sections of various crypto YouTubers that I follow, I see that there's many people, the majority of people that are commenting are people that are not doing well, right? They're just not, their portfolio is not performing. They're basically in the red. And I just start to realize just how fortunate I am that being in this market, all I've ever known is green, right? And it doesn't, I mean, this doesn't have to be like a massive margin of green, right? But if I've ever seen red, it was probably for a maximum of 6-month period, which was early on when, you know, the crypto market within 2020 and 2021, especially that whole, you know, Luna FTX type, that saga as well, those areas, and it wasn't all at once, that 6 months. It would have probably been, I don't know, 2 years later, there was a couple months where the crypto market was kind of ugly, where I could have seen red. I wasn't really checking like that, right? But along your journey, you start to realize yourself, you don't actually care if you're someone that is a long-term holder. So new people that are coming in, essentially, they're just looking to make money, and what they're hearing from the outside is, oh, this is the future of finance, and everything that I'm hearing is what they're gonna hear. But what they won't realize is it's as sad as it sounds, as bad as I'm gonna make this sound, but it's like crypto is just another glorified pyramid scheme, but not meaning that it is a scam. That's not what I mean. Because when I hear people say these things a lot about crypto, I always ask the question back to them, what in this world isn't a pyramid scheme? You know, because the traditional system we're dealing with right now is a pyramid scheme in itself. It's just one that's been heavily regulated. So it's very hard for people to try to do some of the criminal stuff we're seeing people do in crypto can never be done in traditional markets, right? And again, when you're 5+ years in, you start realizing to yourself that, oh, okay, so this is just a smaller space that can easily be controlled by whales that move the markets up and down, and they can do stuff that is downright criminal, but because there's no regulation, no one really faces any major consequences, right? And if they do, it's, I don't know, Sam Bankman-Fried type, where there's talks that there may be an opening for him to get set free earlier than, you know, the sentence date. It's all just, yeah. I think if you're getting in here looking to make money, it's possible, but you have to be, it's either you're someone that is getting in and very serious, and you're you know, honing down on specifically this specific area within crypto, focusing on a specific area. For example, the privacy area, right? I mean, like privacy coins, right? But that whole privacy narrative has allowed for privacy coins to run, specifically Zcash, the coin Zcash. If people don't know about Zcash, that's one that I was exposed to by one of, I won't name the YouTuber basically, but one of the YouTubers that I watch mentioned Zcash. This was like in 2022, to be fair, and you know, I got in quite early with a fair few pounds. I got in. That dropped, like, I want to say, to 80 to 90%. So thousands went to hundreds. But then I waited. I actually, when it really went down, I was just accumulating more. I was accumulating more. There were other coins that was in there as well, but I'll just focus on Zcash because Zcash is one of the ones that really performed. ever since. And Zcash really was it 2025? Yeah, basically last year, where Zcash just went on an absolute tear. So my average buy price then was around 100 and something. Let's just say 130. It was under 130, but let's just say, yeah, the maximum was £130 was when I bought Zcash. I don't know what that is in dollars, but since then it's sitting at 200 and is it 70 now? Whether I sold or not, taxman, nobody knows, but I mean, it's still at great price, and these are type of things that happens when you buy and hold. That's what I'm saying. If you're an investor and you're holding it and you're 5+ years in and you understand that it's just literally cycles. It's like stuff come back around, come and go. And yes, you might be thinking to yourself that I'm just round tripping, right? I make the money, but I don't take it out. And I'm talking about you, me, not me, you. Whether I do take out or not, I'm not going to say, because taxman you don't need to know. But you're probably thinking you're just round tripping and so forth. But the fact that, because if you have conviction in these coins, the best thing you can do, I guess, is hold them, sell some if wherever you need be. There's bills you need to pay, great. But a good thing about it is, the longer you hold it, you're just essentially building a great financial foundation for yourself, because it never really hit. When 2020 is when I got in, right? Early 2020 as well. This was when the world was falling down. Stocks was tanking. That's pretty much the year 2020 to gone in 2021 is a year where because I was in stocks around stocks and shares started for me around 2015, 16. Honestly, 2015 basically. That's when I got into stocks and shares, and I just bought, I don't know, Boohoo stuff. I don't know, Legal in General, Viva. I bought some Nike shares. I think I bought Adidas and Puma as well, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so I just bought a whole bunch of stuff. That was from friends mentioning, apps. I downloaded them. I can't speak. I downloaded them and I just playing around with them, checking what I could do. But instead of using a practice account, I just went straight in, because that's how I am. I like to get my hands dirty. I like to, let's just get straight in. And because I had a good amount of money, I'm like, let me use some of that. Eventually, I just dropped the whole thing in there. But then once I found out about crypto, which was years later, like basically 5 years later, and I took it seriously, because I knew I was hearing about crypto around 2018, I would say. I didn't really get in. But then 2 years, was it 3 years even later, is when I then, 2-3 years when I then got in, which was 2020. And I didn't know how low I was buying in at. But those early purchases was allowed me to always stay in the green. And for me, this is what I'm trying to say. For me, I'm now treating it like a savings account. But I'm understanding that many people won't be able to, because of your buy-in price. And that's the issue, right? So 5+ years in, what I can definitely say is your perspective on crypto is going to be shaped by when you got in, obviously what you're holding as well, but when you got in and how you treat your investment. So if you're treating it like, oh, I'm trying to use it to make money and to get a certain amount, whatever, you might make mistakes. I was doing some of the stuff as well. I was risking ETH, trying to get into this pump, these type of different pump schemes or whatever. You're hearing stuff from Telegram, somebody saying that they're about to do this thing and everybody can make money, whatever, and it's going to pump. And then you basically use your coins, basically, right? Risking it, and you lose some of these coins. You're thinking to yourself, why did I just do that? Why did I make that stupid decision? But this is me trying to make quick, fast money at these points. It was like 2021 times, I really stopped doing that. And I just literally by 2022, I literally just became an investor just holding. Like I was doing that already, but once in a while, I'll just risk I'll risk something. I'll put some of my coins on. I'll put some of my coins on a chopping block to see if something works. And I realized I had put in maybe too much at some point. I shouldn't have put in the amount I put in, but because I was essentially still holding majority, just holding them just to holding them sake. To be fair, I didn't really have a plan. The fact that I've held them and I didn't have anything to do immediately. I didn't have anything to buy. I didn't have any major purchase I wanted to do to make in that time period. Just allowed me just to hold, just held, and until this day right now, which I'm holding right now. And there's many people that I would not say many people, friends of mine that I would mention this to early on in 2020. That it took me time to get them on board, but once they did, we created a WhatsApp group at the time, started onboarding more and more people that were finding out about it, not knowing that early 2021 was a bubble pop. And that was my first ever bear market experience in the bear market, which was weird because I went from seeing 6 figures for the first time, and especially first time seeing it all at once, because almost all of us that have been working for 10 years now, if you I don't think people actually realize just how profitable they've been, right? In terms of, I say profitable, but how much output, right? You have, how much output that you've outputted, I don't know what to say, in regards to building up your wealth, building up a source of income, right? Because within 10 years, definitely, let's just say you wasn't getting taxed, which is that's just imaginary world. You wasn't getting taxed. 1000%, you would have grossed 100K within 10 years. And I'm talking about everybody from low paid jobs to high paid jobs. So them low paid jobs, if you work for 10 years, you'd have grossed 100,000. So that's what I mean by saying, when I saw 6 figures in 2021, that's the first time I had seen it all at just all at once like that. The only time I've never seen it before, right? Because you would only have ever experienced that in accumulation, but you're paying tax and so forth. You have to pay this, pay that. So as a result, you are never going to see it. All you know is that you probably grossed that much in that time frame you've been working for. But seeing 6 figures in an account is wild, for anyone that's not seen it before. So that's what I saw then, right? So whether I have that now, tax man, nobody knows. But so then kind of moving on to now, where then when it came down, and I was like, what the hell? But I already saw the vision. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is real. It's like I always describe it as, if you watched The Matrix before, when this is, I think, the revolution. Anyway, it's the one where Neo and Trinity are in the. It's not the hammock, is it? Whatever spaceship they're in, right? That they borrowed, and they're going through Machine City, and Neo is trying to destroy all the machines coming to attack their ship, and then he tells Trinity, go up to the skies because they can't survive in that type of altitude. Then they shoot through the clouds, and then they just see the sun, basically. And then Trinity then goes, wow, beautiful. That's exactly how I saw crypto once I saw that amount for the first time in my life. I was like, wow. Because everything I was being told on how to get there, work hard, do this, was just all thrown in a bin when I found out that I could just invest in products. I can invest in instruments, financial instruments, and see that type of figures. That just completely changed me, and you can, I think now 5+ years in, if I was to switch up, I saw it again. I mean, if I have I seen it, am I seeing it right now? Taxman, nobody knows. I'm not saying I sold anything. What I'm saying is that I've seen it again. And 5+ years in, that really kind of just it keeps you level-headed, because now you now realize yourself it's not a thing for me. You know, it's great to see it, and at least you now know that it's possible. And this is exactly why I now treat crypto for me as a savings account. You know, ensuring that I'm, you know, whatever, staking, putting some funds in liquidity pools. There's some that I've lost out on, unfortunately, because that liquidity pool closed down. They take your money. All these things, all these risks, basically being taken. But for me, the majority of it is now in safe storage, and I just in that safe storage, you're able to do staking as well. Some of it is on exchanges, so in case I need to, you know, sell stuff for immediate stuff I need to do in life. So these kind of things is why I operate the way I operate now, and I'm not really going to change anymore. I think slowly but surely things are going to shift. There is already a financial shift happening where more and more people are waking up to the fact that maybe they don't have full control of their money on when it's in banks, right? Because many people, I was watching a YouTube video, right, and it's the one to do with a gentleman walked into, I forgot the bank, and he's asking, was it 5,000 they wanted to take out, and they were fighting him. And then there was people in comments saying, "Oh, this is ridiculous. They become these banks that, you know, think that they own everything, or, you know, like this is illegal." And I'm thinking to myself, do you guys not understand bank policies? Like, this is why, for me, when it comes to banks, I don't keep money in banks like that anymore. Like, once I learned that it's not my money, again, this is something that people are probably hearing this for the first time right now, which is crazy to me. But they're arguing in the comments. I'm like, what? I had to type to the person that was saying they're wrong, was arguing with the person that was making the video, because the person that was making the video was essentially stating, yep, they're wrong, but that's not his money, whatever. I think, was that what he said? Anyway, no, I don't think he said that, but he just was basically mentioning that, yeah, they're wrong, but many people just kind of don't realize that they don't really have much power in this instance. You know, he's there arguing, trying to record the woman, the bank teller or whatever. She's saying, you can't record me, but then there's cameras recording the whole building. So what are you talking about? The whole thing. And then people are commenting saying that, oh, the banks are this, banks are that. I'm thinking to myself, you can't blame the banks if you don't know what you signed. You don't even know that once you enter a bank, you're entering a contract. You don't even know this, right? Once you use their services, once you deposit your money, you're in a contract now. You don't have to sign anything. You just basically automatically gave them rights to your money. And what you don't understand is, I'm saying your money. Once you give them rights to that money, it's now their money. It's now at their discretion if they give it to you back or not, because they're just essentially acting. I know this sounds so wild to you right now. Google this stuff. Just Google it and see what comes up. Ask, is money in my bank my money? And see what comes up. So these are the type of, you know, things as the reason why, you know, crypto to me made sense. When I started mentioning this to friends, whatever, and letting them know that, yeah, it's very important that, you know, they start just obviously not taking all your money, but, you know, put some of this money, put it away into something like crypto. At least you got exposure to it. For me, it's like almost fully. Like, it's very rare that I have over 1K in any of my bank accounts. I've got 5 bank accounts, 4 or 5 bank accounts with different companies, like with different banks, 4 or 5. And it's very rare that I have 1K in all of them. Like, I don't even use the other 4. I just use 1. And in that one, I don't have 1K in it. You know, I just ensure that anytime I need to get paid, work, whatever the case may be, somebody sending me money, it goes into that account. But I don't. There's no need to use it because again, the money's not mine. God forbid there be a bank run happen. So like these are the things. And to be fair, guys, the reason this is somebody that is 5+ years in crypto that's able to acquire this knowledge, because there was a time I didn't know it, but I only knew it really when I essentially got into stocks is when I really kind of knew. I was like, oh snap, the money in that is not even mine. I think the main thing I learned from stocks was you take what is it? Banks were what is it? Banks were operating. Banks were applying the concepts of what is it called again? Fractional reserve lending. When I learned that concept, fractional reserve lending, that banks, which is, just to make it clear for people who don't know, is just bank getting your money, which is now their money. There's rules in place where allows for them to take 90%. So let's just say £1,000. They're able to take 90%, which is £900. They take that from the money you gave them and they lend it out, and they keep £100 in the account, right? Which is your account, but it's not your money. It's just your account because you opened the account with them, but it's their money. And whenever you go to the screen, you're looking at, oh, I've got £1,000 in there. You maybe want to take some money out. They've borrowed £900 of your money out. So if they didn't borrow your money out and they still have it, they're able to give you, let's say you want £300, cool. But if they give that £900 to lend somebody, they're now taking the money from someone else, right? If you want £300 and all that's really left in the bank is £100 because they lended out £900, if they don't have the £300, they're gonna take it. They're gonna start shifting money around, obviously in the back end, shifting the money around to basically get that extra 200 that you're requesting, and they'll give you that 200. Still showing that, and they'll do the calculations to make it look as though, okay, yeah, we've taken out 300, you got 700 still in there, when you don't really have 700. But that's what fractional reserve lending is they basically have the right to take out 90% of money that you gave them and lend it out to go and make money in various ways, making money off people like yourself, which come for loans. You come into, I need a loan. They charge people interest. That's how they make extra money from your money. They make extra money from taking your money, putting it into stocks and shares, which is what I started doing. That's when I learned about that. I'm like, oh my days, I want to make money. I want to make money off my money then. Or am I giving it to you to make the money and you give me with small amount of interest? It didn't make sense to me. These are the things that, I learned when I was involved in stocks and shares. And then once I got into crypto, then I kind of learned completely that you don't even own the money at all. It's not actually your money, I guess I learned that in stocks and shares as well, because fractional reserve lending that explanation would make it very clear to you that they're doing this because it's their money. That's why they're able to do this. Because actually, it's illegal for them to do it. But again, because we don't read the fine print when we're just walking into contracts with banks, you hardly sign anything. You're just walking into a contract, basically. Once you walk into the bank, you're walking into it. Here's my money. Imagine like the mind frame we're in to just be taking money that we worked hard and just giving it to somebody. I think about the mind frame you're in to take that and just, here you go. Here's my money. Like they've really structured it. Like they've really, indoctrinated us to just be happy to just hand over our money to them. This is madness. If you really think it's madness, you wouldn't do it in any other scenario. But this one, because rulers of the world, in order for you to be able to get a loan, in order for you to be able to state that you are a legal citizen, or you are allowed to, I don't know, travel, whatever the case may be, you need to go through the system, and banks is heavily tied into that. This is why we use banks. So no one's forcing us, right? It's not forcing us. They're just kind of letting you want to play in this system, you're gonna have to start using banks, because this is and they'll tell other entities, right, other companies, you need to basically get reference from some, like ask for references, because we need to know where these people's money is coming from, where it's going, you know. So in order, if they come for you to ask money from you, ask for references, ask them what it's needed for, whatever the case may be, and work with other companies to ensure that these people aren't performing underhanded tactics. Us people, which is the public, aren't performing underhanded tactics to move money around. This is why they don't like when people, if I needed services from you and I pay you directly, they don't like that, because they can't tax you. They need to be the middleman to tax you, and you know, this is essentially what they do. Middleman. Oh, you need money to go to, okay, cool, no problem. In order for that to happen, you need to do this, because if you don't, you can get in trouble. You're not declared. So when you look at the system, the whole system is centered around them being able to know exactly what we're doing with our money, because that way they can now tax us. So when you learn that stuff, you start realizing to yourself, it's very, very important for you to be able to be in an alternative space like crypto, where it allows you to custody your own money. And this is exactly why I use it like a savings account. I've kind of digressed, but you're not surprised. Obviously, you should be able to tell by the channel name that that's exactly what I do. But I just wanted to kind of give some of that information, because I don't know if people get to hear from I want to say real people that you're listening to that are big YouTubers that talk about crypto. They're real people, but in terms of from somebody that is, I don't really talk about these things. I don't tell people. I don't need to tell people, about how this is what I have. This is these are my assets. I am someone that's, I can say I've been successful in crypto for years now. I've been in the green, and that's not changed still. And I believe that, just to let people know as well, I believe we are probably at the bottom. And I'm hearing more and more people saying we're going lower. If I was to give my prediction, I would say that I don't believe we're going lower. I'm not gonna lie to you. Specifically, if you want to talk about specific, what are you talking about in general? Okay, Bitcoin, right? But if we do go lower, I think we're 10% off the low. This is why I've not been wasting time. For months, I've been sniping. Nothing major. I'm not throwing in thousands like when I got into crypto all those years back. Now I'm comfortable. I don't need to, I want to try to enjoy as much as I can, like, of life. So as a result, just throwing, little money here and there to supplement what I have, just to know that, yeah, I got in at a time when many people were saying we're going lower or we're going to zero as per usual. No, I believe this is pretty much, we're closer to the lower, we're close to the bottom than we're ever going to be, really. Again, if we go lower 10%, and I'll just invest a bit more aggressively. But for now, I've actually been, for the past 2 months, I want to even 3 months, it's been edging lower. I've just been getting in. And I'm just seeing, the majority of YouTube crypto people now saying that the majority of them are now saying we're going lower. But there was a point in time not too long ago, they were saying, no, we're not in a bear market. We're not in a bear market, not knowing that we've been in a bear market for over a year now. There's, for those that know certain YouTubers that talk this way, you know who I'm talking about, that has been expressing this over and over again, that we've been in a bear market already for over a year, while many people are saying, we still got another 6 months or maybe even more, because they believe we kind of just started. No, I mean, they could be right. I'm not saying I'm completely correct. I'm just saying, listen, I've been in this 5+ years. I've been in 2 cycles now, and I just know when sentiment is not essentially the lowest, but it's tired. I wouldn't even say lowest. It doesn't have to be. When sentiment is tired, when people are tired, yeah, I can notice it, and I think we're there. One more flush would essentially just be for them to really just destroy maybe others that are still in hope, or people that are still in a certain amount of profit, that they won't be able to stomach another low, because that would mean they're going into a red, to flush them out, really. But everybody that's in is just waiting for what needs to take place, which will take place, to take place again. So yeah, my prediction is that we've seen the low. I don't think we're going any lower, to be fair. But if we do, I mean, I'm ready. For the past, how long now has that been getting in, sniping prices? I've been just getting more so into Bitcoin, ETH, really the two main focuses. I've been getting other minor stuff, but Bitcoin, ETH are the ones I've really been focusing on. Yeah, I think those are gonna, do well again. I think, like I said, I was saying before, which I completely lost track, was Zcash. That's one thing. I think Zcash is one that is going to really perform very well. It's performed already, so I'm not complaining about Zcash. In fact, one crypto YouTuber that I trust is saying that Zcash is done. I mean, if it's done, it's done. But like I said, like my average now, since I bought at 124, I was buying at 124. I was the highest I bought it at. It came down since I bought when it went as low as £20. I know it was rough. Those years were rough. £20. I was just sniping. And I bought quite a lot. So my average probably gone to, I would say, definitely under £100 for Zcash. So I'm just waiting. I'm just seeing where else it can go to. And I think Zcash is going to perform. I believe Zcash is going to go high. And I say this, I'm going to give you a reason. I'm not going to just say it. I'm saying this because you notice that when I think people have not trusted the Zcash run up. This is why there wasn't really many YouTubers talking about it, like others. I remember when ETH went crazy. Obviously, Bitcoin ETH went crazy. Cardano went crazy for one time. Solana was one that was just, everyone was talking about at one point. XRP was one talking about, it was a coin people were talking about at one point. Like, Zcash didn't really get that. Zcash was getting pumped, was pumping. People were saying, "Oh, there's this insiders pumping it." And although, yes, I believe that, at the same time, I just think that because retail didn't swarm Zcash and were not trusting it, I believe it's going to go up again due to sentiment. I believe that people are saying that, yeah, it's done. The majority of people I'm hearing now saying it's done. They don't need to get into it, whatever. But I think it's going to pump due to the fact that we're now entering, we're slowly swinging into a bull trend now, right? We're slowly, well, not the people, the majority, the retail are not, but you've seen what the big players are doing. They're buying stuff already. You got MicroStrategy. Michael Saylor's already been slowly but surely. He's now getting Bitcoin at good prices. He usually buys high, but he's actually sniped at very, very good prices right now, I believe. They just made big buys. I think one of the big boys, I don't know if it was Goldman or I forgot, it's not I don't know if it was Fink or if it was what's the other guy for what I'm talking about, right? Those guys that were the big boys anyway. They've been sniping as well. They've been kind of buying. What's the other guy? Tom Lee, right? They've been getting ETH now. People were roasting Tom Lee for his predictions, but because ETH only, got disgustingly it didn't perform very well. But they've stuck to it, and that's what you kind of have to do in this market. If you buy high and it starts coming down, try to be getting in where you can, and if it hits a perceived low as sentiment can get, is when you probably want to be doubling down. That's what Tom Lee, and is it Fun? What's the name of that? You know what Tom Lee's? Yeah, that's what they're doing. So I just got in earlier. I just started doing that earlier than many because I was like that 2 months ago felt like it was, people really just feeling very low. Now I think people are actually tired, and that tiredness is when I believe, I need to kind of start getting it more seriously. So, man, we'll see. I do definitely have people that have been contacting me. Most people now, they go silent. 1 or 2 people contact me, let me know what my thoughts about things. So I'm having to let them know that, yeah, I've been sniping. There's two people that there's actually, it's funny actually, because I have two people. I might have to do this on another video, but there's two people that I know that work for top. It was JP Morgan I was thinking about. And the only reason why I remembered it was JP Morgan is because one of my my younger cousin actually, okay, I won't say who works for who, but somebody that I know works for JP Morgan, somebody I know works for Goldman, right? So there's two people in my life that I know that I've asked them about these things. There's a conflict of interest basically about these things, hence why it's very difficult for them to talk about it or to even try to kind of get in. But I remember when I started telling them about it years ago, and they were telling me, yeah, it's kind of because one person works in asset management, the other works in investment banking. I just spoke to one of them that works in investment banking the other day, and I was telling him that, bro, the information that you give is really, really, really it's so rich, and it's coming from somebody that's you've been in this for years. He's been in this space for, I want to say 2 decades. It's not 2 decades. No, that's not. But a long time now. Fairly young dude still, but long time. And if I can get him on this channel, I don't know if he ever, I'll share this video with him, and I'll see if he can jump on, because I want to bring in like real people. I want to bring in people that are actually in the field. He was skeptical at first, but I managed to talk him into looking into it. He then basically got into crypto himself, and he's great salary. He's on an investment banker working for one of the top two. I think he works actually both. I think he's switched anyway. If I could bring this person on, just because he's not only just good at what he does in terms of investment banking, but he's a great orator. I try, because I'm not good at this. That's why, yeah. And I digress way too much. He's not. He's like, I'll see if I can get him on. Certified guy. I'll see if I can get him on. But that's my take right now. I don't want to prolong this. Has gone over an hour now, but this is just, I just wanted to break this down, because I'm always someone talking about personal finance. It's like my thing. There's many things I want to touch on personal finance, but I think crypto is like one that, because the market is dead and people are saying all the same things we've heard every other cycle, I think it's just that time to let people know, if you're not in, you probably want to start getting in right now, because things are going to start getting really interesting. They're going to start getting surprised once again. People are going to start talking about it once again. And me personally, I'm ready. I'm ready. I hope you guys are. And yeah, let me know what you think, man. Signing out. Dan digresses. I need to get out of here. Oh, and like, comment, subscribe. All the stuff they tell you to do. Yeah.